this bonus video, I'm going to show you 12 drills for a rock-solid core. Core, as I've mentioned many times, is really important for piking up, finding stability, and just having a really solid supported headstand practice. For this video, you'll need 2 blocks and a blanket. So pause the video, grab what you need, and I'll meet you here when you come back. Great. When you have your props handy, we're going to start with 1 block. So I'll have you lie on your back. With your legs straight up in the air, and take the block to the front of your thighs. And then you take your elbows to the block. So lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Press your low back down into the ground. Bring your palms to touch. All right, so now you're going to really squeeze your belly, pressing your low back down, and you'll lower one leg at a time. Right, keeping your block steady where it's at. So nice and slowly, lower down and lift. Keep pressing your low back down, keep breathing. Pressing your elbows into the block and your block into your thigh. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Beautiful. Gently release. We're going to do something very similar, but this time bend your knees. So bring your shins parallel to the ground. And again, take your elbows to the blocks. And this time, you're going to press your left elbow into the block, into your left thigh, as you extend your right leg, right arm back. And then switch. Good. Switch. Keep your feet flexed. Press your low back down. Keep the block where it's at. All right, if it falls out, no worries. Lift it back up and try again. For 5, breathe. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Gently release down. The third one we're going to do is called a jackknife. So you'll take the block in your hands overhead, extend your legs long. And then you're going to really use your core, pulse up to a boat pose, place the block in between your feet, and then lower back down. And then lift and switch. Good. And keep breathing. Three more. One more for bonus. Beautiful. And release. All right. Now have you come to a seated position. Take the block in between your hands, press it out in front of you, and really round out through your spine. So finding protraction in your shoulders. Then bend your knees, place your feet on the ground. So what we're going to do here is you're going to lift one leg and bring it up through the block, and then slowly bring it back down. So not only is this working on your core, it's also working on hamstring flexibility and really working on that compression, right? That pulling of your leg into your body that's so useful for the pike up. All right, so let's give it a try. So really rounding through, pressing the block away. Lift your right leg up and through and down. Good. Left, up and down. And really try to prevent a whole lot of leaning back. Right? If your legs are shaky, that's okay. Good. For 3, 2, and one more. Good. Release. Now you need a second block. We are going to do 3 more drills with your blocks before we get into the blankets. So the first one, I'd like you to sit cross-legged, your hands on the blocks, which are kind of like in the middle of your thighs. Right? And you can play with the placement of the blocks to see what works best. You're going to press your hands into the blocks and lift your hips up and back. Your feet can stay on the ground, or you can lift your feet and hold. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release down. Take a breath. We're going to do that one more time. Good. Hands into the blocks. Lift your hips and hold. Either feet down or feet up. Right? Really press your hips up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Now bring your shins down to the mat. And we're going to do roughly the same thing. I'm going to have you actually come up onto your toes. All right, and what we're going to do, this is very similar to the core compression, the crow core compression drill that we did in a previous video, where you're really going to press in and then maybe you'll hover your toes off the ground. So press your hands onto your blocks, right? Maybe play with picking up one toe or another, right? Maybe both. Good, press and lift for 5, 4, really round, lift up, 3, 2, 1, lower down, take a breath. And we're going to do that one more time. Press down and lift your knees up and in. Rounding through your spine, bringing more weight into your hands, less weight into your toes. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Shake out your wrists. All right, last block exercise here before we bring the blanket into the equation. I'll have you sit with your legs out in front of you and take your blocks back towards your hips this time. Press your hands into the blocks like we've been doing. Lift your hips up and then send your hips back. And you can play with lifting one foot, maybe both, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, shake it out. And doing that one more time. Right, the key here is to send your hips back and up. Really engage that low belly. And press up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good work. All right, bring your blocks, place them over to the side for a moment. Grab your blanket, and I'm going to have you roll up your mat so that you have some cushion for where your hands are going to rest. All right, and then you'll come into a plank position with your feet on the blanket. And I'm actually going to have you make sure the blanket's opened up enough so that you can bring your feet in and out in some crisscrosses, which is what we're going to do. Okay, so plank pose. All right, and we'll start just open and close. Pressing down into your hands, rounding out your upper back. Squeeze your low belly up and in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now do some crisscross. So bring one foot in front of the other. Keep breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down. Take a breath. Okay, one more here. And this time, you're going to bring your knees up and in, kind of like a crow. So you're going to do that with your knees bent, send them back out, bring your feet in with your legs straight, like you're piking up. And then we'll keep repeating. So, looks like this. Knees in, send back. Hips up, send back. Beautiful, let's move. Yes, really use your core as you think about lifting your hips up towards the sky instead of just bringing your feet in, right? That'll really help to give you space to bring your legs in. One more of each. All right. So for this next one, I'll have you grab your blocks, move your mat away, and fold your blanket up so that it's about hip width distance apart, so you can slide it through the blocks. And I'll have you start in a plank pose, and you can come up on, I advise you to bring your blocks up to the next level, especially if you have cork blocks and they're a bit sturdier. It's a nice foundation, and having them on this level gives you some space to bring your legs through. So what we're going to do is come back from a plank, and then bring your legs up and through to an L-sit. And then really lift your hips, squeeze your low belly in, all the way back to a plank. And then moving through to an L, and then up and back. Good. And it's okay if your feet get stuck as you're coming back through. That's pretty common. Feel free to just like scoot back or step back to the plank and do it again. So let's get moving. Legs up and through. And send it back. And up and through. Squeeze. Press. Last one. Good. And the last one we're going to do here. So I'll have you sit on the ground with your legs out in front of you. Take the blocks by your hips or a little bit behind you. Bring your heels to the blanket. And it's going to be very similar. We're going to straighten our legs out, come to a reverse tabletop, and then pull your hips back and up, squeezing your low belly into an L. So it looks like this. All right, lift your hips up, and then pull back and up, and then forward. Good. Keep moving, keep breathing, and it's really important for that pull back and up for your low belly, because it helps to find that compression that you need for your pike up into your supported headstand. So just a few more. Last one. Good work. Whew. Good. I hope you enjoyed these drills. Please do this video as many times as you'd like to really get your core fired up for your supported headstand practice. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.